This program contains adult content.
Is there a God?
Big atheist.
Really?
What, am I an idiot? Come on.
That yes, it would be nice if you could throw your sins and your responsibilities on someone else. But it's not true.
It looks like far-left lunacy.
I don't believe that it's true that religion is moral or ethical.
You don't need to follow anybody!
It's not human intelligence!
If someone doesn't value logical consistency, what logical argument are you going to give them that will demonstrate that they should?
Hello and welcome to the Godless Rebelution. Today's Monday, April 8th. This is episode 246. I'm Dan Ellis.
I'm Ryan Duffy.
Hey, guys.
Matt's here. And we also have Megan in studio with us.
Yay! I'm
Wonderful here. Megan Kennedy. Well, previously Megan Kennedy.
Yes.
Or are you still going by Megan Kennedy? I don't know.
That's like my stage name. It's my Madonna name. So we're going to keep that.
Okay.
And then, I'll do the whole whatever marital name thing behind the scenes. But Kennedy's cool for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
It has a certain royalty to it.
Yeah, it's easy to remember.
Yeah, it is.
But you haven't been here for like a year, man. It's really good to see you again.
It's good to see you guys. I'm so stoked to be back here. It doesn't feel like it's been a year, honestly, since I started here.
Yeah, when you said it's been more than a year, I was like, yeah, I guess so. It just doesn't seem like it's actually been that long.
Last year went by really fast.
Wow. Yeah. Well, what have you guys been doing for the last week?
Working overtime that I got directed to work.
Oh, yay. You got voluntold?
Yeah. We're hurting right now.
Yeah.
So,
a lot of people calling out sick, or are you just understaffed?
Understaffed right now. We had a few people left, went to different departments and stuff, and they haven't hired new guys yet. So, like Saturday, there was 2 of us that got directed to work, and there was like 6 guys already on overtime.
Oh, wow.
So.
Super busy.
Yeah, I don't see that getting any better anytime soon. And then wildland season's right around the corner.
Wowzers. Super. And you were not here last week.
Yeah, same old stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, Brandon turned 18, but,
That's wild too, man.
Last week, yeah.
You now have an adult son.
Mm-hmm. And a baby son.
And a baby.
Yeah.
It's quite a gap.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So did you kick him the fuck out of the house yet then?
No. He already left.
Oh.
It's right after the birthday party.
Yeah. You have a limo waiting outside like, hey, that ain't coming back.
I wish he would spend more time at my house, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
how it
see
goes.
my kids nearly as much as I would like either. They're adults now and doing their own things, and eventually maybe I'll see them more often, but they're young and having fun. And I remember when I was their age and was like, I want to go home. Fuck that. Let's do something.
Yeah.
Let's go do things and junk and stuff. Move fast and break shit.
Mm-hmm.
I never broke shit though.
Like
I'm myself. I mean, I broke shit, but just not my bones.
Yeah. I got to go visit with puppies.
Yeah.
Tracy's brother has a lab and bred it with the Siberian Husky. So
That's an advanced lab.
Yeah. He has his dog had a litter of 10 Huskadors.
Huskador.
Yeah.
What a clunky name.
Yeah. They're adorable though, and they're so soft. They're like the size of maybe a small Nerf football.
Yeah.
And they're just like little chunks of furry flesh that they can't even really walk yet. Their eyes are just barely open. They just kind of scoot around. But they're so
How many did you kidnap?
Cute. I wanted to bring them all home, but then I know they'll get bigger and
a lot bigger.
Yeah.
You got time for that?
I got time for that. Yeah, 10 puppies, man, and they're super fucking cute. But I liked it very much. And we still haven't got the roof fixed. Had the final bid come in today, and I have some questions for 2 companies that remain in the mix, and then I will pick from one of them. So it's looking like it's going to be somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 to fix the fucking.
Is the question
leak.
whether or not they take payment in cookies?
No, low jobs.
Well, I was going to go there, but I decided to be polite tonight.
What's wrong with sex work, Ryan? It's perfectly fine. It's consenting adults.
It's a business.
It's just not legal yet.
True. Not here, anyway.
Yeah,
some places, but not here. Yeah. But we have a lot of fun stuff. We're going to be talking about ancient aliens and Mormons and racisms.
It all goes together so well.
All the racisms, bro. And I know we're going to be talking about this guy a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I wore this
cool shirt
tonight. I have my Cthulhu, one of my Cthulhu shirts on. But we're gonna talk to Megan about all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah.
You have awesome talk, so I'm really excited about this. So we'll get to that on the other side.
This is Nick Fish, president of American Atheists. You can learn more about our work at www.atheists.org. Make sure to check out our national convention coming up Easter weekend in Cincinnati, Ohio. We'll look forward to seeing you there, and you're listening to the Godless Rebelution.
John and Kate have definitely had sex.
How do you know?
Working in HR, I've developed a sixth sense for people's sex lives. I'll bet there's a crazy Venn diagram of sexual encounters in this room.
It is weird to think that all these people wearing nice suits, drinking coffee, talking calmly, have all had penises and vaginas in their mouths. Literally all of them.
Tailored suits are the only thing hiding the fact that we're all hairy mammals with horrifying genitalia.
I mean, yeah, my genitalia is fine, but I understand what you're saying.
My genitalia is horrifying.
Rejoining the Godless Rebelution podcast now.
All right, Megan, I'm going to wait until you take a sip of your drink and then start.
I did it. I know.
And
I've
then
been
start
planning
asking
these
you questions about it. So you're here to talk to us about ancient aliens.
I am, yeah.
And racisms and the fun stuff.
Yeah,
that's not fun stuff.
Racisms
isn't fun
racisms
for
is
the.
not fun stuff.
Yeah.
The myth is fun to mess with, and it's fun to break stuff that should be broken like this. So we're gonna break some shit that should be broken.
Awesome.
Yeah. So the last talk we gave with Religious Education Series, which is my lecture series that we haven't done a new talk since December, and it'll be a little bit till we do a new one. But we were talking about how ancient aliens, lost cities, lost civilization mythology promotes white supremacy. It's just a continuation of a historical process that started with colonialism and has just continued on and taken a lot of different shapes. And Mormonism comes into play with that because it's the same basic setup. They just use divine revelation instead of things like eugenics or, quote unquote civilization to blame for their racism. So they all kind of go in a nice historical line. You can see a nice line draw from old colonial myths up into the 20th century with Lovecraft. And Joseph Smith has to do with that, and they're all drinking from the same gross racist beverage cup, if you will. It all looks different when it comes out, but it's all the same life.
Well, and I watched you talk a couple times, and it touched on a couple things that you had mentioned in other talks. It talks about colonialism, racism, all of those things, but it was something that I'd never really thought much about. Like, I'd always just taken it as, oh yeah, they're silly, weird stories that people buy into, a lot along the lines of like conspiracy theories, ancient myths, all these weird things. And one of the things that I had never really drawn a line through all of that is that it is pretty racist, because a lot of these myths deal with the natives in the area as if, oh, well, certainly they're too fucking stupid to build their own shit, right? So they had to have, they're brown people, black people, whatever. Clearly they can't invent this stuff or come up with it by themselves. They had to have had some outside influence and super knowledge passed on to them.
And there's a specific reference I make in the talk to Du Bois' propaganda of history. It's a specific concept, and the example I think I used in the talk was about Onesimus. He was an enslaved man that introduced inoculation for smallpox. And it's not a story that's told a lot because that would challenge our ability to deal with slavery and racism on honest terms. And yeah, these myths seem real fun and just kind of jokey when we're like, oh, aliens, what if? We have all these historical questions and mysteries to answer. And it's kind of gross how people who propagate ancient aliens myth latch on to people's honest curiosity for our gaps in history and our real questions about our past and real questions about how ancient people got along and how our society stems from that. And they just answer those questions with kind of racist, emotional pleas. And they count on you not knowing the context these things come from, and kind of fill you in with a false answer. But yeah, it's been going on a long time, unfortunately. And it's not just fun myth when it affects real world stuff, when it affects how people vote and how lawmakers, make decisions. When you look at the spike in hate crimes, when you look at how indigenous and these cultures that have been, both indigenous cultures, both in North and South America, have been treated. It's not just a joke to say that they don't have any land, they don't have any history, they can't build their own civilizations or cultures or myth. Like, that's dehumanization. That's I believe the list of like warning signs for genocide. One of those things is talking about is removing a people from their context and erasing their history. And that's exactly what these ancient aliens myths do. They're not fun. They're presented as fun, unfortunately, and just entertainment, but they're only really entertainment for white people.
Well, they're not even entertaining. They're more like, you fucking dumb, dude.
Yeah, and they just ask a lot of questions. If you notice, they don't really tell you anything. They just,
No,
what if
could it
aliens?
be?
And
The thing is, some of the things that they're asking questions are making, like, theories for their hypothesizes. I so fucked that up.
Hypotheses.
Those things. We already have good answers for a lot of it.
A
It's
lot
like,
of it,
we already know what was going on there, and now you're going, nope, that's completely out of the picture. This is fucking it. Because obviously, like I said, they're too fucking dumb to do something like that kind of thing.
yeah. And it doesn't help that we don't have an education system that teaches us in-depth stuff about history. We get literal whitewash history all the time. I mean, so the stuff we do already know, it's not like you have to get to the college level to even access a ton of that. And even then, it's, are you accessing the right classes? Do your instructors care about telling you, So we kind of have this perfect environment for this stuff to bubble up in, which other conspiracy theories, I think, fit in this, where we have a high value on like emotional connectivity to stuff instead of logic in our country and reason, and kind of, we have that like intellectual streak that doesn't help. We don't get taught correct history. And we just have so much pushing against the reality of history that's incentivizes like white supremacy and these structures that a lot of people are really incentivized to keep going. And ancient aliens guys make so much fucking money. They make so much money. Archaeologists don't make
those
money.
numbers, I was like, holy
It's like the ghost hunters and psychics and
yeah, I don't know how much those guys make. Man, that'd be a good question. I wonder how much like the actual ghost hunter guys make. But ancient aliens guys make so much money off of their shows, off the books. History Channel, they make like, I think I have the figure in here. It's like something like $1 million an episode, and it costs them $100K to make an episode of. That's an insane profit margin.
Wow.
The experts they get to come on, they don't get paid. But the producers do, like the guys involved with it. They're the ones making money off this stuff. They constantly talk about archaeologists hiding these things, and it's a big grand conspiracy to protect this truth. Like, for what? Do these guys make $60K a year tops? Like,
I was watching a thing today actually with Josh Gates.
I love that guy.
I do too, but it was doing the Egyptian thing where they're unveiling a tomb live.
Yeah.
And Dr. Zawahi goes, you should come work for us. And he goes, how much do you get paid? He goes, you don't.
Yeah. Yep.
We don't make money doing this.
Yeah.
You work for free. Nobody here gets paid.
Yeah. There's no incentive for archaeologists to hide this stuff. Like, you want me to hide like a conspiracy of aliens? You're going to have to pay me the fuck so much money to hide that. But they can never produce any of this stuff, right? Nobody's hiding anything. And the ones who are making the money are the ones who are telling you that everybody else is hiding stuff to make money. The numbers are there.
Yeah, it's really strange to me that people buy into all this stuff so easily and just willingly walk into like, I believe dumb stuff now. They don't ever seem to question it. There's very little critical thinking about much of this, which I think is a problem with so many other topics and things that we see around us every day nowadays. Is just that, and Dr. Garcia mentioned it when we were interviewing him last week, that we really need to start getting better at teaching critical thinking.
Yeah.
To people so that they can see through, what to a lot of other people is obvious bullshit.
Yeah.
And the part of the problem is that they don't feel like they believe dumb shit. They feel like they now are smarter than everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so there's huge ego incentive to move down paths like that when you aren't critical.
Yeah.
Well, I think too, when you look at the Egyptian stuff, we see the big stuff they built. The big pyramids, they're big things they've built. You're like, well, how the fuck do they do that? It's like, well, it took them 3,000 years to learn how to fucking do that.
Mm-hmm.
Did it?
That's how long the Egyptian, like the big things you see, that was towards the end. Like they're like the first, they're like even like the, I'm saying it's like the 15th dynasty tombs are all below ground. They weren't building big pyramids. They were doing mounds and putting everything below ground. It took them a long time to learn how to
Where
actually
did they put their almond joys?
Oh, in their pants.
No, not near the mounds.
No. No, but it took them a long time to learn how to actually build large structures.
I thought those were big grain silos.
Mm-hmm. Well,
isn't that what Herman Cain?
No, Ben Carson, you fucking racist.
Oh, Ben. Sorry, Herman Cain has been in the news lately because he's been Trump's pick for something else.
I also
is he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Isn't it housing? No.
No, that's
you
racist.
Ben Carson's doing.
Shit.
Not to derail us too much on this, but did you hear what that one senator actually said to Ben Carson during a hearing last week?
No.
He goes through a whole thing. They're like, why aren't you giving us information he wants to put out? And he gives some bullshit answer. And he goes, honestly, I think we're all dumber now.
The senator said that to Ben Carson?
Because he kept asking, like, Ben Carson, we need this direction to put out. And he's like, well, I didn't want to put it out. I was like, well, why not? So I don't think you're going to like it. He's like, well, but you're not putting out any information.
I don't think you're going to like it, so I'm just not going to report it.
Yeah. He's like, I don't think you're going to like what we got to say. He's like, well, that doesn't matter. You're still not putting out the fucking reports you're supposed to put out. He's like, yeah, well, I just didn't do it because you're not going to like it. And the guy's like, fuck, like, we're now stupider than when we're stupider now when the whole thing started. And it's like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, Ben Carson he worked on brains, but
somehow
he doesn't
really
have one.
proves that intelligence doesn't transfer to all areas.
Yes.
You know?
So your talk was broken up into different sections. Do you want to kind of go through your talk?
Oh,
and
if you want you guys to jump in, we can do that. That totally works. So yeah, we started. The tricky thing I learned doing this talk and researching was learning how reporting on conspiracy theories and things like this, which is definitely under that envelope of kind of irrational answer stuff, kind of like religion.
Mm-hmm.
It relates to, we've had a resurgence of ancient alien belief. I think it's tripled in the last couple of years.
Oh, really?
It's up to 40-something%, almost 50% belief in ancient aliens.
Thanks, History Channel.
Yeah, and they make so much money and they don't give a shit. There's no ethical consideration on that. So that's getting worse.
No effort to provide some real education to people on these topics. Mm-hmm. It's all sensationalized.
Yeah, and you've got Graham Hancock just put out a new book. Nobody's stopping Von Daniken. He's been doing this since the 60s, and he's been debunked publicly multiple times. Nobody cares.
It's like Uri Geller.
Matter. Yeah, it doesn't
The guy
matter.
just keeps coming back like a fucking cockroach.
It's like Joseph Smith.
Yeah.
It's like
it really
like
is,
the Pope.
Yeah.
It's like every fucking charlatan bullshitter.
Yeah. If you don't, I mean, look at Trump supporters too. You've got proof. It's at some point you just don't want to look and you don't want to believe it. And there's people who don't want to. They're too committed to whatever emotional satisfaction this myth gives them over,
we need to be more like modern Germans. Suppress it all.
Can you imagine Americans suppressing their emotions more? Oh my God.
Oh wow.
We'd all do that. Yeah. But yeah, so I learned you have to watch how you talk about this stuff, because you can actually make belief in it worse. So if I had to be really careful where we're not going to go into detail about the myths or I'm not going to tell you a bunch of these lost city stories, right? Because they all have the same basic ideas. And they all actually really kind of come from Lovecraft, ironically. Like the Ancient Aliens myth is just Lovecraft stories. If you've ever read any, which you guys have, they're Ancient Alien stories. And repeating them can actually get them stuck in people's heads. So I had to structure this talk and kind of go through the history of it to just show you what it actually looked like and show you how this stuff got inserted.
How can I not prime people to believe this is a thing?
Right. And I was really glad I found that information because obviously I could have done a talk that would have made things worse. So I'm really glad to have learned how to talk about this stuff.
So what kind of things did you have to alter? How do you structure a talk that way so that you're not priming people for that?
Yeah, I had to go back and I was going to go through certain specific myths and go over and say, okay, well, this is what the Solutrean hypothesis looks like. And this is what, if you've never heard the Atlantean myth or if you've never heard of the lost city of Z and show you these things and go through in depth on the Mormon myth on the Lamanites and Nephites. But I had to just go back and go, here's what the real stuff looks like. And then here is what they say the myth is. But I've already shown you all the facts. So you could automatically tell why this myth doesn't add up because I've already given you all the stuff up front.
It sounds like the government's already got to you.
I know. It's too late. It's too late.
Well, and what you just said reminded me of, I actually saw a comedian do a show. It was like a college show, but it was all on history. Like he knew his shit. And he kept repeating the same thing over and over again during it, saying, if you repeat a lie long enough, it becomes history.
Mm-hmm.
Long enough and loud enough,
yeah.
So is that it? You provide people the facts first and then say, this is the thing that it really happened. This is the story of this ancient civilization or culture or whatever. And then people say weird shit about this thing that actually happened.
Right. There's a great handbook called the Debunking Handbook, which shows you how to kind of organize information. They did it based on climate change, how to deal with climate deniers. So it's a great, it gives you a great step-by-step of how to organize information so you're less likely to get the bad shit stuck in people's heads. So that's what I tried to organize this talk on.
Awesome.
So I started to, just started by talking about where these things come from.
Well, and so it's not just cool information, but you're, aside from learning about these ancient civilizations and relating that information to people, you're actually, which is awesome, taking the time to think about how this talk could be impactful on people and that you don't want it to be a negative impact.
Absolutely.
You want them to take away the good stuff and leave all the bullshit behind. That's really good. I would have thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of these series, right? Is to give people access to stuff they don't already, that they have trouble accessing, or maybe they haven't heard before. And if I'm doing it any kind of way that's not challenging their critical thinking or that's giving into it, then what the fuck? What's the point? Might as well just put on like an episode of Ancient Aliens. Like, so it's what the Ancient Aliens myth and all of these related myths, the mound builder myth, which is early 19th century, lost cities myths, all this boils down to like authority and legitimacy. Who gets to own the land? Who gets to say what happens to the resources? And white people who've been coming over here need reasons to do what they're doing to the indigenous populations. They need reasons to kick these people out. They need to be able to sleep at night, basically. And so they hop on the white supremacist train of saying that people can't build civilization, or they didn't have writing, or they didn't have the right gods, or any reason you can think of to justify the brutality that they're going to commit and do commit.
So it's not even as if they're riding in as white knights to we're gonna bring knowledge to these people. It's
some people definitely do that. Missionaries, I'd say, have that. Some of the early travel writers that started with Mesoamerican ruins, definitely a couple of them wrote very white savior. They were like, look, I found these gorgeous, what ended up being Mayan ruins. I'm the white savior of this. Look at this dead civilization. It would have been lost to the jungle if I hadn't found it. And now I'm going to bring it to the light of the new world. And that's a way for America to claim these ruins in a way. And in very literal ways, these guys were like buying ruins. They were buying like whole cities for $50 with the plans to relocate them to New York to make museums out of them. They were making, I guess, molds, like plaster molds. They were tearing whole shrines down. Like no question for what it did to the indigenous locals, like who are the ones who showed them where these were. Because anytime white people find stuff, it's because indigenous people led them right the fuck to it.
Yeah.
But it's never lost. It's just new to white people.
Damn it, indigenous people.
Don't show us where things are anymore.
Is that how the London Bridge showed up in Arizona?
Oh, that one I don't know about. I did hear that got rebuilt like that, right?
Well, they bought it, and they
such nonsense.
Bought it,
people nonsense.
And they moved it, so which is why if you ever go to see the London Bridge in Arizona, I think it's Arizona that's got it.
It's right where it belongs.
Yeah, Lake Havasu City, but I think it's only one London Bridge. It's not like the London Bridge.
Yeah, I just know they call it like
a London Bridge.
A London Bridge, yeah. And in each block is numbered because when they took it apart, they had to etch numbers in each one so that way they knew how to put it back together when they got it over here.
It's crazy. The energy, the manpower that takes, it's just nonsense. What else could we be doing with that? So much.
We could have just built a bridge with natural resources that were in the area.
Yeah. Could have done that. Yeah. So the early place where, because I go throughout history. Like I tried to start with the earliest parts where we see the this kind of white supremacist myth coming in, and then moving to the 20th century. And the earliest place that racists kind of try to claim a hold on it is literally like Ice Age migration. So it's called the Solutrean hypothesis. It says something about Europeans came across on ships, which nobody's ever found any proof of that, or an ice bridge, which geologically speaking, no proof of it. Basically, it's just a counter to the Beringia myth that we're all familiar with. The Beringia Strait theory. We came across from Eurasia on the Bering Land Bridge, and then the ice caps melted. We got stuck here basically, and then there was secondary migrations all throughout North and South America. We have so much genetic, linguistic, tooling, like artifact proof to back that one up, and absolutely nothing for Solutrean. But people will not let that one die. It's just another way to say that okay, we will admit the Native Americans were here pretty early. Okay. But I think we still got here just a little bit earlier, and we came on ships that are just gone, and we have no proof of them. And it's, just another way to say white people got here first, but we didn't.
So are they trying to say that like white people arrived here first, and then just through being here for a while became the natives?
No, as far as I understand, they're saying but both are kind of true. But we still just got here first. It's just it's literally just a like first comment on a YouTube video. That's It's ridiculous.
It was always my understanding that the first
manifesting this destiny.
White people or European cultures that actually come here were the Vikings. Is that?
I don't know how I know that's been challenged a couple of times. I'm honestly not sure where archaeology is on that anymore.
Okay.
There have been some settlements found, but I know there have been a lot of controversy about their dating.
Because I had always heard that there was like talks like passed down, like because how Native American tribes pass things down through stories about them talking about actually trading with the Vikings at a certain time in their history, which way predated Columbus and everything else.
Yeah, I know they found settlements, and it's more north, kind of like east coast towards Canada and Greenland. I don't know what kind of trade they involved. They're definitely already Native Americans here by that time.
For thousands of years.
Yeah, but I don't know what kind of trading went on with them at this point. We'd have to. I know that some settlements. I remember seeing some settlements exist, but I remember people.
All I know is the story of Christopher Columbus is bullshit.
Yeah, he's super racist, rapey.
Oh yeah, when I was in grade school, Columbus was a hero.
Yeah. I know, it wasn't that long ago, really. Yeah.
I researched that when I had to go school a fucking very conservative friend on it.
Oh, yeah?
Well, how long were the Vikings? What was that, 1,000 years ago?
Vikings?
When they had their great reign when they're traveling the
1200, right?
I have no idea. Tracy could answer. She's a font of knowledge about historical stuff, and I'm just not.
That's fine.
But what are we saying for Native Americans? Like 10, 12,000 years ago?
Yeah. Easy. Yep.
Yeah. So 800 to 1,000 years, or 10 to 12,000 years.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't saying the Vikings were the first.
I know.
Just that the Native Americans were already.
I was just punctuating.
Yeah. So the next big like historical moment that gets caught onto is the cradles of civilization, which already when you're using like civilization, we got to be real sketchy because that's typically uses to mean a very specific thing, and it can be kind of an objective measurement, but it's also been used to demean any kind of group that doesn't build cities. So we got to be real careful.
It depends on how you set up the measurements, right? If you define civilization as white cultures,
right?
Yeah,
then we're it's easy to say, well, we're the only civilized humans.
Yep.
Well, and then it's intimating that the indigenous peoples were uncivilized.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then,
which
and
is what they did,
they
though.
want.
That's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
So there's we get a lot of talk about the early cradles of civilization, like in the Fertile Crescent and things like that, and in India. China's finally getting talked about, but that's
a slang term for vagina, right? The Fertile Crescent.
Right, yeah. That's where all the world began, you know. That's good. I like that. But there were these civilizations popping up in the middle or in North and South America too. They just don't get talked about very often. So the Mochaya in what would become Mexico, Norte in modern day Peru. So these were coming up at the same time as Babylon and in Indus Valley region, and the oldest mummies we actually have are from the Chinchorro culture in modern day Peru. So they're older than Egyptian mummies. They were building cities, they were building complex cultures, they had complex religious rituals, complex death rituals. But those, for whatever reason, when we talk about early civilizations, we don't talk about who existed on North and South American soil that were doing the exact same things at the exact same time. Ancient aliens, myths, and I feel like this pops up in other like pseudo history and kind of like New Agey circles, this idea of like a mother culture, where we all civilizations got taught how to build culture from one main culture or an alien culture or God or Atlanteans, some shit like that. But the fact is that we figured out how to make culture multiple times in multiple places independently. We find a fertile river valley where it's easy to grow shit. You grow enough calories to feed more and more people, and then you build a civilization to account for all your people and to deal with all the mouths you got to feed and all the complexities of life that occur, right? And it just happens independently. We've independently invented writing, I think, like 4 times. It's just people don't want to believe that humans are capable of that for some reason.
But it does seem a little obvious in some ways, though, because if you look at like Sumeria and stuff, they had cuneiform and tablets and the Hammurabic laws and all that kind of stuff. And the Indus Valley was slightly different. The Chinese were slightly different. The Mayans were big on charting the stars, and they had brutal law that was not like Hammurabic law in any way. Completely different sort of hieroglyphic writing. I mean, so there's like all these different cultures had strengths in all these different areas. They didn't all like if across the board we had similar languages, similar codes of law,
uniform
similar. If there was some uniformity, then even if it was altered by the time we discovered them, it would still be kind of interesting. But you know, you'd have to think, well, how did these all start from the same group? But they're so vastly different.
Yeah. And that's what these guys always try to find those things like, oh, look, this Egyptian hieroglyphic, glyph looks like this Mayan one. And maybe they both mean the same thing. And it's just one God they all shared. Like, that's not.
Look at how they all kind of look like people.
Right. Or like, oh, look, they made a vision of the sun. So it must have been one world religion. Like, yeah, a circle with some like everyone sees the sun. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not a fucking stretch.
Where are the jaguars in Egypt and the cobras in the Mayan culture?
Yeah. Why does everybody build pyramids? Because it's the easiest fucking shape to build.
Yeah.
When you don't have steel beams and you don't have that kind of technology we have to support buildings.
The most stable.
It's very stable. Like there's they're really simple answers to a lot of these. And you can see those differences in the way that it's like, oh, they did do writing, but maybe for different reasons. Maybe these guys invented writing too. Like the early Greek stuff had like linear A and B. There were two different languages and we've only deciphered one, but one was specifically just for like palace and temple stuff and religious stuff. And one was for, more like, I believe it was more commerce based stuff. So.
Really? They had two separate languages for those?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that one, and one of them went on to become what we could translate into later Greek stuff. So there's even, you can see those differences in civilizations like that. And it makes sense that you'd have to adapt your own writing system to your own needs and people and ecology. And there's a lot of groups that didn't need to write stuff down for whatever reason.
Well, it was that everything started with God, and then people tried to build that tower and to get to heaven, and then he confused them all by changing their languages and is like, no, you people are dumb. Don't do that. I'm going to make you speak a different language, and you speak a different language.
Now that you say that in such close proximity to what we've been talking about, that makes me wonder, why didn't God destroy the pyramids? Surely they were tall enough to have invited his wrath.
He seems
or
insecure.
any of the pyramids across the world. The other thing is we haven't mentioned Polynesia as an emerging empire at this point, but some of those island groups were starting to develop all kinds of, again, totally different cultures at this point.
All their star navigation, all their seafaring
their
abilities.
sailing,
it's crazy, and look at and then you've got cultures like the Aboriginals of Australia just amaze me.
Right.
Like their Dreamtime stuff, their oral histories that have lasted for 10,000 years. They have oral histories that can tell you about land masses that have been submerged by the ice age. That's how
yeah, because they've been there for 30,000 years, right?
And they've kept their traditions so tight, and they've luckily a lot of it's been isolation, but they've just maintained their traditions so strongly that they have a people memory that long they can remember the ice caps melting. Like that blows my mind. And what a beautiful, and how dare you say these people aren't civilized or some shit? What the fuck's wrong with you? Like that kind of shit makes me mad.
But they also have an ancient alien theory of their own, kind of.
Do they?
Yeah. That their God sent a rock from the heavens which created that impact, and they spawned from that rock.
Like there's a word for that.
Panspermia?
That's the one. Yeah. The idea that all of our life came. Yeah.
But they also, I saw the guys on the show was like, it was that Morgan Freeman show where he goes talking about all the different gods and all different cultures.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy was showing him, goes, I know our legend is true because here is the crater where life started.
Nice.
That must be Evan Almighty.
No.
Oh man. Yeah. So, the like I said, these theories get put into really old history, because you can never go too far back as a racist to rewrite this stuff and make the world yours, really.
Yeah.
And so we moved on in the talk from talking about the cradles of civilization into North American culture, obviously, which brings us to, we're skipping a lot, but there's so much world history that's racist. I don't know how long we could be here. I see that countdown timer. We just can't do it.
We can't be here for the next 10,000 years.
We just can't. We don't have enough beer at all. Not even close. But yeah, when North American culture started getting inundated with colonialism, we're all familiar, obviously, with what happened to these poor tribes. And so you had a kind of a twofold program, because you had the state secular movement that was claiming land for this new American experiment. And then Joseph Smith kind of comes in and does it on a religious side. Right. But it's the same thing. What was interesting about early archaeology in the Americas is Thomas Jefferson was super into archaeology, which is weird. And he actually, for being as super racist as he was, he rightly guessed, I believe it was him who rightly guessed that the mounds they found, which would become the mound builder myth, were from indigenous people.
Now, is this their burial mounds?
They're different. They're so they ended up looking very mound-like because of
erosion,
natural processes and stuff. And early archaeology was just really too young, honestly, to answer a lot of these questions. And so you'd have people assuming like, oh, well, all these mounds are obviously one big culture that's stretching from New York down to Texas and Louisiana. And there are some people who even stretched it down to Mesoamerica and made it one big culture. Like, oh, they moved down and became more advanced somehow and then started selling cities. Like they saw it as this big, because they couldn't date stuff. They just assumed once they started dating it, you've got different, I think, let me look at my numbers here. You've got different cultures going from 700 to 100 BC, a different group from 100 to 400 AD. So different time frames, right? But again, if you admit that these groups built this stuff, if you admit that natives have had a presence here this long, that they had ruins that could be buried by natural processes, then how the hell are you throwing them off their land? How are you doing the Trail of Tears to say this is ours if you've got proof that they were here? So of course you have to whitewash that. There's this really awful quote that's a great example of the mindset in this time. So this was during the Trail of Tears. The North American Review, which is the first literary magazine in the U.S., published this quote. The moment the New World was discovered, the doom of the savage races who inhabited it was sealed. They must either conform to the institutions of the Europeans or disappear from the face of the earth.
The savages. We got to tame the savages.
Yep. Or you either assimilate or die, and that was the choice given to them, and that includes their history. That's part of genocide, part of colonial assimilation. You have to take everything.
So Andrew Jackson was a Borg.
Yes. Yeah, in a way, I mean, he's definitely, honestly, I think I like the Borg better.
And that was also when we sent out all of our lovely Christian missionaries to go to these tribes and take kids and cut their hair and give them Christian names and teach them to speak English and to forget their old ways.
Yeah, that's part of the genocide, right? You have to take away customs, language, religion, outlawing things like the ghost dance, outlawing, moving them away from their spiritual areas, their tribal areas onto reservations, so they don't have access to resources. There's reservations now that still don't have running water. I mean,
but the shitty thing is, even after they assimilate and they cut their hair and they try to act more European, they're still not a welcome in society.
Right. There's no winning. You don't win colonialism. You don't win racism. You don't. You don't win patriarchy. Like, there's nothing I can do to make men respect me or not hurt me. It's just, I just kind of have to hope that people with power don't want to hurt me and that I can fight back. Really, like, there's just nothing. Like, that's the insidiousness of it, is making you believe there's in any of these systems, there's something you can do to not be abused by it, and it's just not. It's just a way to keep you busy.
You're just not white manning hard enough.
I know, right? Just gotta lean in harder.
And we don't want to hurt you.
Right? You're just making us. I don't want to hit you, baby.
I do love that you throw those in there, though, because it's not often enough that I think about that.
Which part?
Of just how little I have to worry about those kinds of things.
Yeah.
As a straight white guy.
Yeah, it's different. You guys have way more energy. You don't have to spend on thinking that stuff. So. And likewise, like, it's a
that means we can be more advanced and build civilization.
Right. It's a good thing you guys are here.
That means we can be more,
we wouldn't have anything without you white men.
Creative in the advancements of others that we take over.
And isn't that a gross way that it works circularly? Like, you take so much energy away from people that they really can't create anything new, and then you can be like, yeah, well, I wouldn't have ever invented this cool thing. You guys need to just catch up. Like, yeah, because you have all the fucking time, energy, money in the world, and you're not constantly fighting off rapists. You're not constantly dealing with anything that anybody else is dealing with. Of course you're inventing new stuff.
That's also why most straight white men just sit behind a TV and play Xbox and eat Cheetos.
That's why I try to play as many Xbox games as I can. It's for the ancestors. Really, it's for all the women in my past that didn't get to rest. I just sleep all the time now, and I just take nap after nap. It's for them.
I do love naps.
They're the best.
Especially with puppies.
See, we got to kidnap all those husky puppies and then nap pile.
Yes.
Puppy naps.
Yeah.
Yes. They're not potty trained, though, so you got to be careful.
Well, okay.
I'll wear a rain jacket.
That's so gross.
I'll wear a slicker.
Oh, man.
For some reason, I can totally picture you in a bright yellow raincoat.
With puppies peeing on me?
Well, not that part as much.
Don't even take it that far.
Yeah, we just went into some weird German porn fetish.
Yeah, I didn't quite go full Trump in my mind with it.
I have a mental image of you dressed as like Paddington Bear out through a rainy day.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I was thinking more I'll dress like Georgie.
Georgie?
So they all float down here.
Oh, yeah, that's the outfit.
I still don't.
Yeah. Georgie, the one that got sucked into the sewer, that was wearing the raincoat and the hat and the boots. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is Natalie Newell of Science Moms and the Parenthetical Science Podcast. You are listening to the Godless Rebelution.
Hi there, Matt. Just to give you a heads up, I'm dead and in heaven. Just kidding. Heaven isn't real.
Thank you to everybody who has rated the show on iTunes and Stitcher and are following us on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And to all our Patreon patrons, you make the show possible.
I had these good drawings. One of the things I saw or used in the talk was these great examples of the early colonialists going to Mesoamerica and doing sketches of the ruins they were finding for the first time.
Cool.
And then you compare them to the actual photographs, and just it's ridiculous. Like, these guys weren't trying at all to get any of them accurate. They were.
Oh, really?
It looked like they're just drawing the White House over and over again.
Yeah, they were. It was Greek and Roman influences, right? Like, they almost. It's almost like they couldn't cope with what they were seeing. They could not cope with how un-Western.
They were just drawing what they knew.
Yeah, they even though they're looking right at it, like, And maybe part of it was the pressure, because some of these guys did have their own racist agendas, of course, and just didn't want to admit these architectural differences.
Or but they also had church pressures too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of artists really didn't have a choice in those days about what they could, they weren't allowed to be creative. They just did what the church wanted to be out there.
Well, was there also maybe pressure from the people paying them?
Right, because a lot of these guys were sent by the government. This is like after the fall.
Yeah, and who had all the money?
Yeah.
The church.
Yeah, this is right when Spain, when Mexico gained its independence from Spain. So it's basically a free-for-all of who's got power and money to go in and send people in to start documenting this stuff.
It's stealing it.
Yeah. Who's going to, and indigenous Mexicans are scrambling to try to preserve their heritage, but they have been completely disenfranchised by the Spanish this whole time. So they have almost no power to fight with the Europeans and Americans coming in to claim and all their travel writing, the like Percy Fawcett guys who are going to map stuff and in the name of European whatever conquering.
Which did ancient cultures make maps of their own areas, really, even?
I think it depends on the culture.
Okay.
That'd be pretty specific, but I don't. The ones we're talking about, I don't know. I don't know the ones that have ever been found.
Okay.
It could be we just lost them because paper and papyrus and that kind of stuff tends to.
Or I'm gonna be like, well, they're already there. We know our way around. Like, this is my block.
Right. And the Percy Fawcett they got sent by wasn't the National Geographic Society when they were actually a survey society still, maybe. And he got sent to map all that stuff. But yeah, it's.
Are you telling me National Geographic was racist too?
Oh yes, I'm sorry. Everyone in Europe was racist at all times in the past. No. But yeah, any of these institutions that were going to map these new world areas that were getting opened up by colonialism, straight up, the assumption you can come in and just map it, that you can just do that, and that's without having to ask permissions and stuff.
No passports.
You just have to have a flag, like Ed Hazard says. It's just the flag. I should just send you the PowerPoint. Oh, I was thinking that.
Well, I've got the talk here. Let me get this downloaded. All right, so I don't have I was going to download the video. I am downloading the video. But we've got your PowerPoint here with the pictures. So what are we looking at here?
Let's see, the first drawing, it's a palace tower at Palenque.
Mm-hmm.
These are mine ruins, and this one is so it's the one on the far left, by Ricardo Almendarez. He was part of an expedition sent by the Spanish crown in 1786. He was one of the first modern Europeans to try and decode a Mesoamerican site. But you can see, and this matches the reports that were written up as well. They're just not it's not a scientific rendering of this building. There's heavy comparisons between Greek and Roman architectural features. He took a ton of liberties.
It's got plants growing off of it.
Yeah,
and arched doorways.
Yeah, and that's part. Yeah. There's a lot of talk too about the way they drew these in where the artist would remove the ruins out of its context and put it in this kind of dreamy landscape with water nearby, and draw some natives and it's exotifying it, right? It's not a scientific drawing, which it's supposed to be.
Also, from an artistic standpoint, it's supposed to be in 2 point perspective, and he's got about 6 going on there.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. And then the second drawing is the Temple of the Sun, same in Palenque, by Jose Luciano Castaneda. He was actually professor of drawing and architecture in Mexico City. This is early 1800s.
That one's good.
Yeah, it's better, I would say, but it's not. It doesn't have the comb, the architectural comb. The windows and doors are all off.
And it's got 2 Spaniards sitting on the steps.
Right, you got the exotifying, right? Giving this kind of it's giving it a contextual character that might not match what these ruins look like. or how the natives respond to them, right? Like, do you really find people just lounging around these ruins doing nothing all the time, or is that an image you're trying to create?
Lazy foreigners, yeah.
Yeah.
And I find it odd how both of them depict plants growing out of the structures.
It's showing that, these are overrun. It's a dreamy dead city. It's a thing we can come and take over. Nobody lives here anymore. We're saving it from the ghosts of history.
Yeah, look at all the shit we got to clean up off of these fucking buildings, man.
Yeah. So it's this is the kind of first information that Americans started getting about Mesoamerica once that area opened up to antiquities guys, to archaeologists, to travel writers, were a lot of the guys who were coming down here, guys who were not qualified to be doing this, right? Just rich white guys in the 19th century who just fucked off down to South America and tried to buy ancient cities, and nobody would stop them.
I'm also guessing they only had a ruler to draw with.
Man, that's a good question. I wonder what they actually had with them, because I don't know enough about art in this era to know what they would have been carrying with them. But holy crap! Yeah,
everything's straight lines.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the trees aren't.
True. They free-handed the trees.
A building's typically a ruler will suffice. I mean, you don't tend to have a lot of squiggly lines on buildings.
True. Yeah, I guess even if they had a ruler, they still fucked it up.
Yeah.
The first guy definitely did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this is to set the stage for coming onto the Mormon side of this talk. This is what the Mormons and Joseph Smith in this era of people who could access the really expensive books these were showing up in, which is unlikely. This is what they're seeing, because these books are expensive to print. I don't even know what kind of library or university they would have been hanging out at. It's not like the normal average American would have had a ton of access, but they would have maybe heard stories. Like newspaper reports of this kind of stuff. So
this would be more of like a scientific journal of the time.
Kind of, yeah, like a scientific quote unquote, because they're obviously real shitty. But yeah, it's we're uncovering these new things, and then they're reporting back to Americans like, oh, look at these new ruins we're finding in these mystical cities, and there have been people in America for forever, and it dealt with this kind of specific like European melancholy that the colonists had, where they were so excited to be this independent, hard-nosed, making their way in a new, untamed land, but still really wanted to be connected to Europe and the old world ruins and the majesty of Greece and Rome and these ancient civilizations. And this stuff gave them just enough connection to do that. And that's, they had no problem pretending it was theirs somehow, or claiming some sort of ownership over it, right? They have Grand Majesty ruins here too in the New World. We're just as good as you, Europe. Fuck off, It was interesting to read about that that mindset in this era.
Well, and I'll be sure to share links to. I'll either share the PowerPoint or links to the PowerPoint, and so that the listening audience can go and look at these pictures and stuff, because that's wild, man. That they're so poorly represented.
Oh yeah,
and this is supposed to be a scholarly, educational thing that's being passed on.
This is the crown putting money out to investigate this new land they're trying to take over and everything, and this is what these guys said back, like this kind of stuff. So a lot of problems on a lot of fronts, really. Yeah. So this is this brings us to Mormonism and how Mormonism gets involved in this. And of course, like all religions, Mormonism is a product of its time. And so this is the time that Joseph Smith's coming up in, right? All this other stuff we've already talked about has already been built up, all this colonial racist history. He's seen what's happening to Native Americans, right? He's living through this. His some of these mounds were 10 to 12 miles from the Smith family farm. So as they're getting excavated and all this stuff, this is where he's getting the ideas and ability, or the little details that go into the Book of Mormon myth, right? Where the plates come from.
The Hill Cumorah and all that stuff. Yeah.
And it's ironic, this is the exact same technique that Lovecraft uses in the next century. Take a little bit of history and blend it in with your fiction, and it makes it feel real, full and real. And the difference is that Lovecraft promoted his as fiction always. He never tried to. He's racist as shit, but he didn't try to lie about it being real. But Joseph Smith presented it as real history, as a history of an America that people were just discovering.
Can I just say real quick too, the amount of artistic liberty that were taken in those buildings is the same amount that's taken in that picture of Joseph Smith. That drawing of him.
Yeah, that drawing is crazy.
It's not even close.
Yeah, it's this. The drawing's crazy. I love this. Jesus visiting the New World nonsense. Like, there's a lot of these.
With a crumbling architecture there as well, showing he's here to save them from their dilapidated
home. Like, super white Jesus. Like, he's so white.
Yeah, it looks like it's, a civilization that is just crumbling around them, and so Jesus is here to save everybody.
Yep. And they're already bringing in the Mesoamerican architecture, right, in this painting, this is newer, but still that idea of the myth that Joseph Smith built, which was that
Well, can I nitpick for a second on that crumbling architecture idea? So if you look in the background, there's also gray clouds and stuff. And so this would be, based on the lore of the Book of Mormon, this would be Jesus's first appearance to the Americas after his crucifixion. So during his crucifixion, during the time that between his crucifixion and resurrection, there were 3 days of storms and tumult and earthquakes and lightning and all that stuff. So everything was dark and stormy and all that stuff. Everything was being destroyed. And then he came back and everything was restored, and he cleared the storms and all that. So that's maybe that could be why.
Gotcha.
That could be why.
Travels down on a sunbeam.
Aw. That's what I would do too.
No, I'd ride the fucking lightning down.
It's very Thor. Yeah. So, but and the other stuff that was going on during Smith's time, which is really important to Mormonism, is the Second Great Awakening. So this was a religious-based rejection of the Enlightenment, saying it's too cold, too logical, we missed something, right? And it's the rejection of not just Protestantism but Catholicism, going all the way back to the apostles, right? Saying it's really like make Christianity great again. It's Trump is doing a revitalization movement too. It's the same idea. It's we fucked up, but there was a time in our past where we got it right, and we need to go back to that, or else everything's going to crumble. And Joseph Smith was one of many people at this time who tried to base a religious movement on that. His caught and took, but that's what Mormonism is all about, is going back to this apostolic, this early Christianity, right? And so they've been doing archaeology in his area,
but not too early, not Jewish early.
Right, not too early. We can't go that early, because then that's a whole different can of worms he has to deal with. But he will take, the Urim and Thummim. He'll take whatever he wants from him. It's fine. Like the Urim and Thummim are super old.
Like 70% of his character and place names.
Yep, that's your old Hebrew. So that picture is one of the priests in the Holy of Holies wearing it's a chest plate. And the Urim and Thummim are 2 stones off of that. So he took those and put them in a hat and used them to read stuff. But that began as part of a completely different tradition for Hebrew priests. So he'd love to steal from people, basically.
Well, and it's fucking weird that he would have to have plates that he then never even really looked at while he was supposedly translating, while staring into his hat at a rock. Like, there's so much about Mormonism that is weird and wacky and stupid. I don't think Mormons actually think about how fucking weird it is, and they get super, super defensive about it. Like, it's secret and sacred. You can't talk about my religion that way.
Yeah, it doesn't take long to unravel it, man. It's just a couple little pokes. It was kind of sloppy, but this stuff is all emotional, right? It's same with ancient aliens. It doesn't take. We already know.
Yeah.
All these. We know how the Egyptian pyramids got built. We know this shit. It's all emotional. You don't want to believe it. You want to believe this other prettier myth that for whatever reason makes you feel good. That's what Smith provided. All of his mystical abilities he claimed over his life that never got proven. Anytime science got near him, they dissolved. His seer stone abilities, claimed he could read ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics, and because at the time we hadn't translated them, nobody could really call his bluff. But since then, Egyptologists have been like, this guy had no fucking idea what he was talking about. Nothing he translated was correct.
Well, didn't they show that the thing he was translating was actually a forgery, and it was a forgery of like a receipt or something?
What I remember it being was it was just a very kind of standard burial shroud or burial.
Well, yeah, are we talking about the Book of Abraham or the Kinderhook plate?
Right, because those are different.
The Book of Abraham was a funerary text.
Okay, because it was one of the ones where because I heard somewhere along the line that someone had sold them to him. He's like, oh, hell yeah, I can read these. Then they find out later on in history, like, well, the thing you bought that you thought was real to this guy, that guy was a con man too. Sold you some fucking fakes.
I wouldn't doubt that, but yeah, he couldn't read anything. But it was all mythology. People just wanted to believe that. I mean, this guy was ballsy enough to say he could read it, and nobody could challenge him. What are they going to do? You just have to call him a liar to his face. And he's still just going to keep doing what he's doing because you can't.
And you have no way to prove that he's lying about it then. Yeah.
And archaeology being so young when a lot of this stuff's happening is another part of the problem. You just don't have the tools to challenge anything these guys are saying or that the travel writers and idiots going in through Mesoamerica are saying. So that was a big problem of it.
It's just shitty that he could completely make up all of this stuff, just pulling shit out of his ass. And we couldn't challenge it at the time, but now that we can, people are like, no.
It's too late, It's been established, And I, while I was researching this, I went to a talk by Ian Barber. He's a LDS scholar from New Zealand. He was talking about how he claims that the Book of Mormon is sympathetic in its view of Indigenous Americans because it textually claims that Mormons and natives will be co-rulers of the new world. And to me, I'm just like that. I mean, first of all, that implies it was your land to fucking decide who co-rules over in the first place.
Yeah.
And there's no historical backing up of that sharing. So at this point, it's just, how can you claim the text is sympathetic when in practice they did every colonial genocidal thing they could, really?
Yeah. Well, and it won't, I mean, according to Mormon theology, it won't even be that it's an indigenous person at that point anymore, right? As long as they're following the teachings of the church, they'll become more white and delightsome and will just look like every other run-of-the-mill Mormon person.
Yeah. So even though Mormons and Americans, especially at this time, did not like each other, they both definitely agreed that white men should be in charge of all things.
It's interesting, Dan. You and I have not gotten a single half shade darker since leaving the Mormon Church.
Not even a little. No.
I think I've gotten whiter.
Yeah.
Probably.
Did you say whiter or whiter?
Yes. Yes, both, actually. Which is double weird, too, because I no longer pray that my food will strengthen and nourish my body.
Right. But
and
yet,
it keeps happening.
But yeah, your body's still eking out calories from it somehow.
What an asshole.
Yeah, I mean, in a humanity timeline sense, Joseph Smith was literally like a hair's breadth away from being not able to say anything he said because everyone would know better.
So close. We're so close.
Yeah, he was right on the edge.
Yeah. And you know, and I often wonder too, like, if America hadn't reacted so violently to the Mormons, would they have just faded out? Because you'd made a martyr story, man. Like, and you shouldn't have done that shit in the first place. Don't be dicks. Don't be fucking state colonial genocide to any little religion or any of that stuff. Yeah. But you made a martyr story here, and it
well, I just say the army shouldn't have stopped their march.
Which army and which march?
The U.S. Army chasing him to Mexico.
Well, that the Mexican border kind of made that a little.
Well, we don't care about borders nowadays.
That's true. I mean,
I don't really think we cared about borders back then either.
No, I think you're right on that. Yeah.
Hey, what do you mean we don't care about borders?
We care about our borders.
We care about ours, but we don't give a fuck about anybody else's. We'll send a fucking plane to bomb anything.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
That's very true. And so there's one really great story. I think it's the next slide. Related to Mormon archaeology, and this is Thomas Stewart Ferguson. He was a bishop and a lawyer who he learned archaeology just because he thought it was fun. He learned it from experts, learned techniques. He came up with
But he's not a professional.
No, he learned professional techniques and went on some digs. So it's one of those...
he has some on-the-job training.
I wouldn't call him not a professional. He just got his training kind of in a weird way, like in a non-traditional way. He came up with a theory that he thought that all the elder LDS-based archaeologists had been looking in the wrong parts of Central America to verify the Book of Mormon and all its stories. So he wanted to take it to a different area. I think that map shows where he wanted to move that all. But he found nothing. He couldn't find anything to back up his claims. He ended up losing his faith and leaving the church. He's got this really brutal quote of just from a dude who clearly believed in this stuff. It's brutal to just say all prophets are without means of communication to deity. All these guys are fucking full of shit. I couldn't find anything. Like, he really wanted to find all these claims to back up Mormon archaeology, and he couldn't find anything.
Yeah, so his quote says, "I must conclude that Joseph Smith had not the remotest skill in things Egyptian hieroglyphics. Right now, I'm inclined to think that all of those who claim to be, quote, prophets, including Moses, were without a means of communication with deity."
He went all the way back to Moses and ripped out their divine revelation, dude. So
Joseph Smith was full of shit. And you know who else was full of shit? Fucking Moses was full of shit, too.
Yeah.
So he did this the right way, though. He actually learned. He studied. Even though it was an unorthodox way of going about getting our education, but he put it to practice and found, hey, guess what? What I was taught in my religion, and from what I'm physically seeing and uncovering right now, proves my religion absolutely fucking wrong.
Yeah.
He's also at least in that photo, doing his best impression of Michael Stipe from the Man on the Moon
video. His pants or something else, man. And there's actually, I think the school he worked in is still a really big archaeological school. And it's done a lot for Mesoamerican archaeology, and even though it's still, I think, Mormon run and Mormon known, it's killing it as far as like legitimate Mesoamerican archaeology. It's been, I don't know about redirect is the right word, but they're not trying to prove the Book of Mormon in that way anymore. They've just got a really sweet ass archaeological setup that happened to start with people trying to find proof of the Book of Mormon and not being able to do it.
Wow.
So it's but this is the Joseph Smith took the already existing American beliefs, manifest destiny, white supremacy, and instead of justifying them with eugenics and things like science and archaeology like the secular world was trying to do, he did it through revelation and divine right and said, we're descended from a long line of Israelites and we were here first and our God's coming to save you and we get this land and we get to co-rule it with you, even though we're going to just take all of it anyway. It's the same thing America was already doing. He just used God to justify it. It's a weird kind of, it's got that weird connection to the ancient aliens and to just general, white takeover of other people's history. And Mormons, the big takeaway for me, is that they're not passive players in American white supremacy. The Mormons are active participants in erasing Mesoamerican and Indigenous American history. And it hurts. Like, there's a reason. I mean, we have one of the highest suicide rates for Indigenous youth. The people who Mormons have historically told don't have history are still getting treated like shit today. It's not, it's a direct line. This isn't just myth. Yeah. And then we can move into 20th century and do Lovecraft.
Oh,
this fucking guy.
Right.
Yeah, even though he was super racist, I'm the least mad at him, if only because he never claimed any of this was real. He was never trying to make money off of idiots who believed in Cthulhu, right? In that same way. But
I don't know a lot of Lovecraft's history. Like, I've read Call of Cthulhu and some of his other short stories and stuff, and I've heard that he's racist, but I've just never really looked into it much.
Yeah, if you Rats in the Walls, I'm pretty sure his, like, the cat name in that is, like, literally just the N-word.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's just
he's a product of his time.
Yeah, and his specific racism was dealing with that early 20th century immigration to New York and the East Coast. And from when I read about how he became this, it sounds like really basic white guy radicalization. He had a rough life. He wasn't doing great. And he decided to blame all the fucking immigrants coming over.
He did have a rough life.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, legitimately, his parents went insane when he was like 2 and 3 and was living with, like, he had a rough life. He
starved to death.
Yeah, he had a time. But it was it definitely wasn't immigrants' fault that Lovecraft had a hard time for sure. But the time he was an adult in, so it's a unique time, early 20th century spiritually. You're dealing with World War I. As a planet, we've really never dealt with grief on that scale.
Yeah.
At that point. The advancements of science and technology are getting crazy. The industrial age, we're starting to mess with previously untouchable gods, getting challenges to religion that we haven't had before. Spiritualism, occultism, seances, Ouija boards, all this stuff's getting kicked up because, again,
seances were huge around that time.
This is Lovecraft's world, right? When he's writing, it's the people are frightened in a way they haven't been before. The churches aren't helping in a way they've never not helped before. And people, like they are now, like the reason they're turning to ancient aliens now, the reason paranormal beliefs and astrology's kicking up, the old institutions are cracking. People have to go somewhere. And that's why I'll always argue we're not getting less religious. We're diverting to other.
No.
To other
we're
paths.
changing our stupid beliefs.
Yeah. They have to go somewhere. And if the old ones don't work, we'll find new ones,
Well, because
they can go away.
Yeah. I think overall for humanity, they're not going to.
No,
because I think people always gotta, for some reason, our brains, there's gotta be something.
Yeah. Well, we're such good abstract thinkers. We think of shit all the time. It doesn't exist. It's so hard. Yeah. And we've got literal mental disorders where you can't tell what's real. Like your brain can generate realities that other people can't see, and you can live your whole life in that. Our brain's powerful.
Well,
and
your brain can also create fake memories of things, something you thought happened that never actually fucking happened.
Yeah. And I think religion's one way we deal with it. And some individuals definitely find a way to not have to fill in that gap with other irrational things. I think as a society, I don't know how as a group we're ever going to get past that. It just seems like it's so ingrained in our the way we cope with reality.
Well, and I read so much shit all over the place that I get things confused. So you'll have to pardon me if I'm incorrect here, but I think it was something that you wrote recently or that I read recently where you were talking about, and if this wasn't you, then I'm sorry. I thought it was brilliant, and you're sitting here, and I think
I'll
you're brilliant.
take credit.
So,
Do it.
But you're talking about the different types of monsters throughout different periods, the things that are in the cultural zeitgeist and being talked about as phenomenons throughout different periods. The monsters in question reflect what's going on at the time, right? So.
The horror movies.
So vampires represent certain things, zombies represent certain types of things, and just the different types of monsters. I thought that was really cool. It was something that I'd never really thought about.
Yeah, our horror movies are a great litmus test for how society's feeling, what they're afraid of, who has power. You can tell a lot from horror movies. They're really underrated. It's really funny to watch. My husband and I just went and saw Us today.
I loved it.
Yeah, it was great. And it's funny how about every 10 years a horror movie will come out that everybody goes, oh, horror's a legitimate genre again. And remember, and look at it, revitalize the genre. It's like, motherfucker, people have been doing horror awesome forever. And every 10 years everybody says, oh, it got saved. And it's just as a genre is so disrespected, even though it's so human and everyone feels fear. And it tells you so much about a culture. That's why some movies don't say scary, because the culture's totally different. Same way with humor. Some movies can't carry over their comedy 10, 20 years
dated,
later, right?
Yeah.
But you can learn a ton about what a culture's afraid of and what they believe, what they hope for from horror movies. And Lovecraft stuff is dealing with the existential terror that humans are feeling kind of for the first time on a big scale. The idea that maybe there isn't a heaven and isn't a God. We've seen the devastation of World War I fucked a lot of people up. The tools of killing, the brutality and the level of devastation.
Watching people come back with shell shock.
Yeah, dealing with like massive levels of PTSD, right? Like nobody was prepared for that. We don't deal with that now. Well, now, like,
Have you ever seen those videos?
You say stuff like that, and nobody knows what you're talking about until
the shell shock videos.
I have seen them. Yeah,
the shell shock videos.
Yeah,
where you can see people like walking on the street where
they're pretty disturbing.
Just permanent tremors when they're walking and they can't control them.
Yeah,
because they're so used to flinching when the shells would hit. Getting shelled 500 times in a day, where they're just constantly flinching. So they have a permanent flinch for the rest of their life. So they'll show videos of them coming back from World War II, walking down a street, and the guy can't stop flinching, can't sit still, his body won't stop moving.
Yeah, that's brutal. And that's why the spiritualism kicked in. People wanted to talk to their loved ones and the dead soldiers that they went over to Europe and never came back, right? And they're desperate, and the church isn't making them feel better.
They're holding seances to try to reach them, and
Yeah, and Lovecraft hated that shit. He was atheist. He was a materialist. He did not believe in God. He did not believe in any of it. He was a debunker, right? He did not like it. So it's kind of funny that his shit went on to build Ancient Aliens myth. He would fucking hate it, but he was a racist. So I think that's kind of funny that he would hate what we did with his work. So he kind of advanced. He's the first author we know of who imagined an ancient advanced alien race. He takes it crazy far, right? Goes to like extra dimensional, beyond human comprehension. Like you can't even describe these monsters.
To even think about them would drive you insane.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's
well, that's pretty convenient for a writer.
Isn't it nice, right? It's just, what do they look like? I can't even tell you. It's
best
so terrible.
literary
Next
device
paragraph.
ever.
Yeah. Yep. So his aliens built civilization on Earth. That's one of the example of one of the old cities, like a fan art version of it. And they mess with our evolution, and they might return. Like that's the basic Cthulhu or Lovecraft idea that he introduced. And he's done a lot of different things with his short stories, but
Cthulhu like just waits
Anunnaki?
Yeah, it is. It is like that. And I think that came before, because that's one of those earlier like theistic, like 1800s.
Oh, is it really that old?
I think that book, if I'm remembering, is like late 1800s.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Yeah. I'll have to look in that. Yeah, I read about that. And Lovecraft also advances that, like the cults of these gods still exist right in the dark corners of the planet. So he leans heavy into that like dark continent of Africa, the savages of blah, blah, blah. Like that's where his racism really kicks in. It's that 19th century, 20th century, still exploring the dark corners of the world, but white men are going to come and save it.
That and the secret society.
Right. Secrets and secret knowledge, I'm going to show you something nobody else knows, right? And that's
like
Von Daniken leans into that. Yeah, yep. Conspiracy theories, Matt was mentioning that earlier. It's that I'm going to make you smarter than everybody else. I'm going to give you that little bit of a leg up, right?
Mm-hmm. That's what people who aren't smart look for.
Yeah. And they never check it out. They just go, oh, if you're telling me nobody knows this, then okay, done. I guess I'm smart.
I'll send you $1,000 a month then.
Yeah, done and
no way for me to fact check this because nobody else knows it. So I'll run with it. Yeah.
I'd rather sound smart than be it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So Lovecraft promoted. Will you grab me one?
Yeah. What do you want?
Well, whatever you got your hands on. Thanks.
Doling out beers.
Just doing some.
I'm just doing some stuff.
Some IPAs over here.
Yeah.
I'll take one of those too while you're
okay.
Yeah. He So he never promoted stuff as fact or nonfiction. He was a weird fiction guy. This was just him being a writer. Like, so that's the only good part about Lovecraft's involvement is this. At least he wasn't trying to trick anybody. But he did introduce a lot of ideas for a culture that ended up with some fucked up consequences. He also introduced this idea that archaeological ruins are kind of have an alien quality to them. And it's kind of an abstract thing to introduce, but it becomes really important when you go to ruins and you've already had the idea planted in your head that the people who built this are different from you or not human somehow. That's not good. That's not good. Okay.
Is that kind of like where they do the whole? It would have been impossible for a person to make a line this straight,
right?
this
Or
even without alien technology.
It's kind of nonsense. You're always looking for reasons that humans couldn't have built it. Almost, it's a weird abstract idea, but he didn't kind of introduce that. And he blended. He did the Joseph Smith thing. He blended real archaeology that was coming out, real history that was being uncovered, and theosophy texts, which are real in that they were written by real people who wanted them taken seriously, but they're obviously spiritualism, so they're quote unquote real.
Yeah.
But he blended a bunch of stuff into his myths, and it did make them more real. It made them fuller and thicker, and I think that's part of why his stuff has survived so long. It's good storytelling.
Well, I mean, that's how you tell a good story.
That's right, and Joseph Smith knew that, and he blended real shit with his myth, and that's why it stuck. So I think that's part of why it stuck.
But Lovecraft put it out there as a story.
Right, it's fiction. It was it was in Weird Tales. It was all just fun stuff.
It was
right?
creepypastas.
Yeah, it was early creepypastas. Yeah, exactly.
This is Dr. Hector Garcia, author of Alpha God and Sex, Power, and Partisanship, and you are listening to Godless Rebelution.
I've got a good feature for you.
No, you haven't.
Rude. You haven't even heard it yet.
No need.
Crystals.
Told you.
Their healing power.
They're bullshit.
You're so narrow-minded.
No.
You don't believe in anything.
Yes, I do.
Thought you were atheist.
Yeah, it doesn't mean I don't believe in anything, does it? It means I don't believe in any god.
How can you not believe in God?
Which one?
What do you mean?
Well, Zeus.
Who?
Greek god. Or Ra, or Ganesh.
No, not those ones. The real one in the Bible.
Yahweh.
Just God.
Well, you know how you don't believe in all those other gods I mentioned? That's how I don't believe in yours.
How can you not believe that someone created all this, though?
Why do you believe that someone created it all?
Because it's so good. Can't just be chance, can it? What, the Big Bang? Everything came from nothing? That's impossible.
You're right. God did it.
Right.
So, where did God come from?
He's always been around.
There you go. Easy, innit?
If you have questions, comments, concerns, compliments, corrections, criticisms, or concepts for content, contact the show via email at godlessrebelution@gmail.com, by text or voicemail at 330-81-REBEL, or Twitter the twatter at TGR Podcast. Thank you!
Yeah, and so in the last 70 years, we come to Eric von Daniken and the advancements he got to take a part, or, be a part of in his era.
So who is Eric von Daniken?
This motherfucker.
Yeah.
This motherfucker. This is the father, if you will, of modern Asian aliens movement. He wrote his first book in 1968. His mythology is nearly beat for beat taken from the work of other writers. Robert Scherow, who wrote The Mysterious Past, The Morning of the Magicians, Lovecraft mythos, different theosophy texts. He wrote the second Ancient Aliens book, literally sitting in a Swiss prison for embezzlement and fraud. He has no training in any of the fields he talks about. His skill is cult of personality. It's telling his readers and his followers that they're brave and radical for listening to him. And, I'm going to give you secret knowledge that I have, that I'm going to hand to you. I'm Prometheus. I have the fire. I'm going to come save you poor humans.
Where's he from?
Switzerland.
Okay.
Yeah. He a documented racist. This tweet I've got over here. So Jason Colavito wrote a great book about the Lovecraft connection to ancient aliens. But he took this quote that he tweeted actually at History Channel there's a lot of cool archaeologists and writers who constantly try to call History Channel out for continuing to air this show.
Being ahistoric, yeah.
Yeah. So this quote, was the black race a failure, and did the extraterrestrials change the genetic code by gene surgery and then program a white or yellow race? So the implication that human beings were created genetically by aliens, and that the black race was a genetic failure. Like, this is the kind of guy he is, and he's been talking like this his whole career.
Also, I'm guessing he's referring to Asians as the yellow ones?
Yes, I would assume so, because, that's how racists think. And this guy's been challenged time and again by mainstream stuff. He's been proven to be fraudulent, but the money is too good, and the emotional connection, the irrationality. So my favorite story of why, him getting debunked and still surviving, from 1976, this is a couple books in his career. He made an outrageous claim that he uncovered the existence of caves in Ecuador that held artifacts like solid gold statues, some sort of weird plastic material that wasn't like ours. Libraries of metal plates, which got the attention of the Mormons, by the way.
I'm sure.
They were all
That's
over
our
that.
neck of the woods, and you're talking about metal plates with writings on
We're
it?
like, you
Holy
must, yep.
shit.
They sent people down there to definitely check that out. So he had no evidence, but he made these claims, and so a large scientific expedition was planned and verified, and Neil Armstrong was part of this. He was looking for his next big discovery after getting home from the moon. They found 400 new species of plants in the Ecuadorian jungle, but nothing that von Daniken claimed he found. They couldn't even find the caves. He claimed that they had found wrong caves and wouldn't tell them where the right caves were.
Did he try to justify that at all? Like,
from what I read, it sounded like he was just he's just like,
poopy heads.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like from the books I read.
Oh, wow.
And then so a bunch of headlines ran proclaiming him to be a fraud, and another expedition was sent to verify the findings of the first, which they did. And then at that point, von Daniken claimed and admitted that the caves he described were not real. And the next slide has a good quote that's just perfect. So this is, he said in his defense that because Eric von Daniken said he was writing popular works for quote unquote mass consumption and not scientific treatises, he could take poetic license with the truth. In short, he admitted to what amounted to fraud. And of course, few fans bothered to listen. The idea was more important to them than the man, or more important than the man, and the idea meant everything to them.
Well, and a big problem that we see because of this is, the History Channel will run shit like this, but they don't run stuff talking about the show that we showed you before was created by this fucking monster who does and says things like this.
Right.
They don't tell you the truth. Like, I don't know why they even bother to call it the History Channel, because they're not in most things that they do these days.
It hasn't been the History Channel for 20 years.
Yeah. It's at this point it's unethical, and especially in our climate where white supremacy is gaining more traction, like outward the shit we're dealing with, increased hate crimes. This is not a fucking joke. It's not a joke that History Channel is not taking this seriously. And they've had people, archaeologists and historians yelling at them for years, and they don't care. There's just too much money in it.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Well, the other thing that I find interesting about this is that von Daniken didn't say that this idea that he put out there was used with poetic license until after tons of searches were made for his claims.
Yep.
And money.
He didn't say that when he first released the statement.
Yeah. His books all
said
talk
it
about the
after
secret
people
truth.
finally came back and said, "What the fuck, man?"
Yep.
I never said it was true.
Right.
I never said it was real. I don't know what you're doing.
Guys are
you guys are stupid.
Why did you
believe
me?
that?
Yeah. Well, Jason Colavito, this guy has a great point he makes, which is people put these books out, like Graham Hancock and Eric von Daniken, as nonfiction, which does not mean the same thing as fact. That's not what that classification as a book means. Nonfiction does not mean fact. And that's important to remember. It is.
Well, it's not fiction.
Right. So it must be. But
in my black and white world, there's fiction and nonfiction.
Yeah. Yeah. So the next slide has is what we were talking about earlier, which is the follow the money. Yeah. So this is the average archaeologist pay. It's the mean pay for archaeologists in 2016 is $66,000. Respectable. It is not hiding a worldwide conspiracy money, right?
No, yeah.
So here's
you'd have to pay them a fuck ton more than that.
Yeah. Yeah, and also this isn't counting that the difficulty.
Point of correction, possibly. I mean, sure, they're paid that much on paper.
Oh, it's all under the table, of course. They're
shills.
Yeah,
for tax reasons.
Yeah, those taxes. And most archaeologists, so getting jobs in academia is nonsense. There's no tenure track jobs anymore, especially for archaeologists. Most can't get health insurance or full-time jobs here in adjuncts. They've got adjuncts living in their cars. Like, being an adjunct professor is not. There's no money in it.
That people like doing.
Yeah, they do it because they love it and no other reason, or they believe in the value of it.
Yeah.
So you've got private archaeologists that work for things like cultural resource management. Those jobs are usually part-time or seasonal. They don't pay well. Again, lacking health insurance. So here's some stuff, some figures that Jason Colavito found. Von Daniken received over $1 million in book royalties for just one of his books, and he's published 24. Authors like David Hatcher Childress, he also owns a publishing house, so he gets to take in proceeds and profit. Media networks, radio shows, cable, internet, they do what's called an alternative media system. So this is kind of the way that like dudes like Ben Shapiro and alt-right Alex Jones peddling his vitamins and shit like that. That's how they operate. They all plug each other and work together. Ancient Aliens guys work together. They cite each other's work. They're incestuous. They go on each other's shows. They go and make this circular Ouroboros of nonsense to keep each other getting money. because they're selling, it's almost like instead of selling a brand, you're selling a political ideology. So in this case, you're selling this ancient aliens or this belief of an academic conspiracy, a wider one. Authors do crazy tours where they take you around to ruins and lie to you for $1,000 a pop. I found cruises and mystic tours with these guys, like nonsense stuff.
Ken Ham.
Yeah.
The LDS Church.
Yeah.
The LDS Church. A lot of these types of tours. Go and see the ancient people's land.
We found Jesus' tomb for sure.
Maybe
this
we'll
time.
discover some of their secrets while we're out there.
Yeah, how many times have they found Jesus' tomb now?
Several. Oh, I think you probably find one around every corner. If you know.
And how many times have they discovered the Ark? Noah's Ark?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So History Channel again, and the other networks command almost $1 million an episode for archaeology shows that cost them maybe $100K to make. George, I'm gonna mispronounce his name. Tsoukalos. Thank you. So the aliens guy, the meme guy. He's a producer. He works with Eric Von Daniken. He gets paid when he shows up on the shows, and he gets paid for his promotional work to keep this racist bullshit in the air. But the experts, when they actually bring on archaeologists to counter or do anything with this, they don't get paid, of course.
So the real conspiracy is this group of ancient alien people, not the entire rest of the world.
Yeah, it's these guys lying to everybody for money, and they're constantly telling you that archaeologists are lying to you for incentive. These guys are the ones who have the incentive to lie.
Yeah.
Look at how much fucking money they're making. Even the little guys make a shit ton of money. They've never produced any evidence of an academic conspiracy. Not one blackmail plot, not one assassination attempt, nothing. You're telling me that this isn't worth killing over, even like a huge. There's got to be one
for the
guy.
Thousands of years since these civilizations have been around,
and nobody's going to kill over it. I've seen movies. I know they will. And nothing. They can't.
There have been killings, but they've all been covered up and shushed.
Of course, and that's
how good they are. That's how deep the conspiracy runs.
That's the nice warm bath that all these conspiracy theorists live in.
Yeah.
If I agree with you as a professional archaeologist or whatever, then I validated your ideas, and authority has validated your ideas. If I disagree with you, then I'm just part of the conspiracy and not to be trusted. So there's no winning. You can't fucking win with these guys.
Yeah.
You can't win with, it's the same religious circular logic. If I don't believe enough, then it's my fault for not having faith. There's no getting out of it.
And it is,
there's nothing that will disconfirm what they want to believe. Yeah.
It is similar to like Trump supporters, people who still support Trump. Like whether you support Trump now or you believe in ancient aliens or whatever it is, you're so far off what could be demonstrated or what's even intuitive that the entire world must be in a conspiracy.
Yep. Yeah.
It has to be the case, or else you're wrong.
Yeah.
About almost everything.
Yep.
Well, yeah. It's like the crazier the lie, the more willing people are to accept it for a lot of different things.
Yeah. And so there's the next quote on here I really like. And this is a quote from Mark Lerner, who's an Egyptologist, I believe, to Graham Hancock, Graham Hancock's kind of a protege.
I would go by Grahamcock.
I know, right? Just shorten it right up. He's like a predecessor to Eric Von Daniken, who kind of started to lead into alien stuff, but he's leaned backwards towards this idea that's a little more palatable, which is that it's not aliens so much as we had an advanced civilization. Not Atlantis, though. It's different, right?
Oh, it's the lost knowledge.
Yeah,
thing.
That at some point, like 12 to 15,000 years ago, we built like super advanced civilization and lost it. That kind of bullshit. So this was a letter that this Egyptologist wrote to Graham Hancock, which I like this quote. In archaeology, many dilettantes and new agers want to be on the trail of a lost civilization, aliens, yes, the gods, without having to pay attention to the real people behind time's curtain, and without having to deal with the difficult subject matter upon which so-called orthodox scholars base their views. And that's really the crux of it, right? Is we want to find mysteries, and history's full of cool stuff to uncover and really fun stuff to chase. And this just isn't one of those things. It's not fucking aliens. And we have so much to disprove it. And it's really messed up that people have dedicated their lives to learning about this stuff, have to constantly rail against people claiming they're hiding. Like, meet a single archaeologist who would hide any huge discovery like that. Like,
right.
Why?
Yeah.
That's all we're waiting to find.
That's what they do. Like, they're all about finding cool shit and reporting about it, right?
Yeah, there's just...
If they were to find some fucking highly technologically advanced shit, they would lose their fucking minds with delight.
Yeah.
And, oh my God, this is amazing. This is like earth-shattering news. I need to tell everybody. But this is going to get me a Nobel Prize.
Right. You're going to be remembered forever.
Yeah.
It's your, dude, you couldn't pay me enough to not, like, I'm in history now. I want that over money. Fuck that. That'll be awesome.
Because now they're going to make more money than the fucking payoff would be.
Yeah. Speaking engagements the rest of your career, right? Yeah.
And it's kind of disappointing to know how many people are out looking for something interesting to learn about, and they've totally missed on terrestrial plants and animals.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much stuff about animals out there that you couldn't possibly learn a tiny percentage of it in a lifetime. There's so much. Like, go spend some time. There's some cool shit.
Yeah.
There's some crazy animals that do weird shit, bad shit to humans. Sometimes.
Fuck us up.
Like that little mini bear thingy they sent into outer space.
Like
and
the tardigrades.
Yeah, the tardigrades.
And they survive.
Oh yeah, they're even they're minier than that.
Yeah.
He got his finger smaller. You can't see it on the podcast.
You just squish the water bear.
You can't squish them though.
Oh yeah, that's
they
true.
Can't die.
They can't die.
A lot about never, but
when they said they took one and put it in the vacuum of outer space and brought it back in the ship, and the thing was still fucking alive.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty epic. Yeah, one thing I learned doing this talk was we actually have more writing in cuneiform than we do from Egypt, Greece, and Rome combined. From those civilizations. We just don't have enough people to translate it.
Oh, shit.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently, we've uncovered tablets. We have quantity-wise more.
All from the ancient aliens?
All of it. They left it in a nice library with this stuff. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that's still in history,
right?
too. Yeah, Sumeria, Babylonia. Yeah. Those are the kind of cool historical things that are still left to uncover. Think of what we could uncover.
That's a whole other thing. Yeah, that's a whole other thing of
languages to
real
decipher.
things.
Well, even I had seen like with new technologies that we got come up, but we're used to you'd have rolled papyrus.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't unroll it because it would just break. It was too fragile. Mm-hmm. Now they got this machine that they're showing where they're looking at it every level through, and since the pigments on the paper come up differently on their radiometric scans, they can basically take it, make a 3D image, and flatten it out, and now read it.
Yeah, it's not drone stuff, which has been obviously horrible for things like warfare, has been awesome for archaeologists because now we don't have to destroy a bunch of shit or charge through a jungle.
We can look through the trees.
Yeah, that's which is how they're making huge discoveries in the Mayan jungle because that jungle just swallows everything up.
LiDAR? Is that what it is?
Yeah. LiDAR.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I read an article several years ago talking about using things like LiDAR to go and discover ancient ruins that have been overtaken by.
I'd watched a show where they're actually showing them using it, and it's crazy how the guy shows, here's the image, here's the LiDAR image, like totally all vegetation gone. And you can see all the old foundations and ruins, but if you look from the overhead pictures, like never would have fucking known any of that was there.
And archaeology is so destructive by its own nature. I mean, that's what it is you go in and rip things apart. So it's so cool to have these new advances where maybe it doesn't have to be so destructive anymore. But we can still build like 3D hologram models that people can, and then we can build a version of it that people can walk through and without ever having to mess with the original ruins, and we don't have to destroy things anymore for people to enjoy them.
Oh, yeah. I was reading something today talking about when Chris was on the show and we were talking to Dr. Garcia, and Chris talked about the impact of the asteroid that basically vaporized
the one down there,
almost everything on the face of the planet. I was reading a longer story about that. He sent me a link, but then I was reading a longer story from that another friend had posted out there, and they were talking about the difference in the ways that archaeology is conducted today versus, even just 50 or 100 years ago, where they were talking about, we have little dental tools that will break out, and we'll spend hours trying to excavate like a 1 square foot little piece of anything. And in the past they'd just come in and load up a bunch of dynamite, blow shit up, and sort through the debris.
That's how they got Troy. That's how they used dynamite on fucking Troy. Like it just boggles my mind. And they took pictures of I can't remember the guy's name. But there's like these old photographs of his wife just draped in all of this like old Greek, like the ancient Greek jewelry they were uncovering from this stuff. And they would and you're just like, what are you doing? But they didn't care. Like the guys in Copan were just, I'm going to buy this town for $50. We're just going to dismantle it and I'll rebuild it. Like, what are you fucking
We're going to loot all these treasures right out of here. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. So it's already come so far and we've got so far to go. And so there's good advancements made that are, again, are giving us abilities to counter a bunch of these old racist narratives. I'm excited for the LiDAR for the jungle stuff because there's the idea of the Lost City gets exacerbated by the fact that you got early expeditions coming over, colonial expeditions, meeting indigenous Mesoamericans, spreading disease, going back home.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time they get back, that city has been decimated population-wise, and they can no longer keep the jungle back because that requires constant maintenance. And so it looks like the city is just gone. And so it looks like this lost city with like, we were here, we swear, we saw the stone city, and you come back and it's just gone. It's just jungle. But it's because you fucking killed all the people who were keeping the jungle clear.
Yeah.
And it got swallowed up. And so we can actually go back and find these massively complex civilizations that lived there because the Europeans assumed you couldn't make those kinds of cities in the jungle. Because it is hard to build in the jungle, but if you got manpower, you can fucking do it. And they did for thousands and thousands of years, right?
Well, they didn't have a choice either, right? It's not
that's
like
where they were born.
That's where they lived, right?
Shit,
Like,
you gotta live, man.
Well, also the place had plentiful resources, so there really wasn't a need to move. You just had to adapt to the environment you were in.
Yeah. So the lighter, those kinds of advancements are gonna. It's gonna be cool to see what happens the next. I say 100 years, like I'm going to be alive that long. Jesus Christ, I hope not.
Well, then even just the ground penetrating radars to find what's under the ground, find tunnels, find tombs, find burial places where you don't have to actually dig it up to be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
or you can dig more
precisely.
Yeah. You're not,
Yeah, you know how far down you got to go. You can dig to the side of it or whatever.
You're not going to just start digging until you hit shit and
breaking through it and destroy something on the inside. Yeah, you can be
dig
more
seasons on trenches that go nowhere. Yeah, exactly. So there's one older myth that I should have mentioned earlier because I kind of bring it up as a cool roundabout callback. So the earlier creator of civilization, some of the stuff where we're talking about the dangers of myth and the dangers of why we have to check this stuff. So it's the Aryan invasion myth, which I don't know how familiar you guys are with this, but when it was discovered that Sanskrit, the language, in the 1700s, they discovered that it had relationships to European languages. And this led a bunch of racist Europeans to try to rewrite the history of the people who spoke Sanskrit in the Indus Valley. So Mohenjo-Daro, these old cities in India that are 10,000 years old, very complex sewer systems, grids, trash collection, like everything we think of hallmarks of civilized cities, right? The Sanskrit word Arya is an adjective. It means noble or pure. German nationalists made it a noun, the Aryan, and it's an imaginary group of white people that came and from prehistoric Europe conquered these peoples of India and then built these civilized cities that we see today.
No shit, I've never heard this before.
And so a philosopher named Joseph Arthur Comte-Gobineau made this a scientific argument of dominant white civilization tracing all the way back to biblical Adam. And the idea of purification, again, returning to a purity we had before, to Aryan purity, became the foundation of Hitler's Reich. So it was bad archaeology.
But Hitler was an atheist.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, he believes in some pretty dumb shit.
I thought he was a Christian that was very into the occult.
I think he was raised Catholic.
He was a Catholic.
Yeah. I don't know anything about how much he practiced, but
well, and everybody has solutions for everything, but he had the final
solution.
He had
the best one, the best one, obviously.
I don't know a lot about Catholicism, but given what I do know, I don't think they would have had much of a problem with what he did.
No, I don't at all. Not even a little, But yeah, this is bad history, bad archaeology, taken in the wrong place, literally helped build the Third Reich, and it helped justify British colonialism of India, because it gave the British an idea to say, hey, yeah, white people came in and did this thousands of years ago, so it's totally cool we're doing it now because white people just do this. We're the dominant people, so we're just back to do this again.
A more modern example would be people like David Barton rewriting American history, saying that, the United States is a Christian nation. Right. It was always set up to be that way. If you look at these documents that say this, this, and this. And of course, if you go and fact check it's all fucking nonsense.
It's just made up bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. So this stuff's not a joke. Mythology, no matter how real it is, like it's not real, but it's fucking real, and real shit happens.
It has real world impacts. Yeah.
Look at the after the Mormons did the November 2015 thing and made apostates of LGBTQ families and kids. Crisis center calls spiked. Suicide spiked. That was a real world consequence to myth. That was a mythological change they made. That's all. It was a myth. And yet, look what it fucking did. Look at we're going to watch the consequences of them taking it back now. It's myth, and yet it affects all of us. There are myths about who gets to drink what and who gets to smoke what. That affects our world all the time. There are myths about what women are good for or meant to do. Affects my life every fucking day. And it's dangerous not to understand that. And that's why I get nervous when people write off religion or beliefs like ancient aliens or this stuff is like, oh, it's just fun and people believe their stuff. Like, hey, people believe their stuff and then they raise kids and they vote and they manage employees and they interact in society and take that shit out.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not power checked, if they're part of a group that doesn't have to get power checked, like white dudes, you know, if I'm in a room, like if you guys, God forbid, started running your mouths about something like being rapists or being like, or just dangerous, damaging stuff, I have to decide, is it worth my safety
to challenge us on it? Yeah,
because socially speaking,
trapped in this small noise-proof room.
Yeah, I'm outnumbered.
I got a pen.
I gotta decide how safe I am and how worth it is, right? So even if I want to challenge your ideas, my social standing and how much protection I have to do that is going to affect whether I do.
Right. The funny thing is that if that even happened, all three of us would immediately line up on your side.
Oh man, yeah.
Well, I want to jump back on that Hitler thing real quick, not because I got a mustache like him.
Which he doesn't.
You have a Stalin mustache.
Yeah.
Whoever said that was an idiot.
I think the guy was high on something pretty good. But I had often heard the rumor that the reason that Hitler got the idea for the final solution and the ghettos and everything from the way we treated Native Americans in America, saying, hey, well, look, America took them all, funneled all these people to these single areas, and then fucking killed them. That's how I'm going to put all the Jews in the ghettos.
Yeah, concentration camps were born out of reservations and indigenous relocation.
And I'd also heard that the way he ran his concentration camps kind of came a little bit from Mr. Ford.
Henry Ford was very pro-Nazi.
Also because of he loved the idea of the assembly line.
Yeah,
that Ford created. And he was like, Ford created the assembly line. It worked really well. It was very productive. So
super efficient way
to kill people. So he used it as a way of like, okay, I'm going to turn the way we funnel people through the concentration camps to kill them like an assembly line. You got your different stations.
I thought he got it more from Papa John.
Subway.
John Schneider.
Do they have ovens at Subway?
They do. If you want it toasted.
Oh yeah. If you want it,
Yeah, it's but no, Ford was super into the right camp.
I heard that Ford was racist. I also heard Disney was fucking Walt Disney was pretty fucking racist, pro Third Reich.
Well, early Mickey cartoons and stuff are like just minstrel shows.
Because I guess Hitler loved Disney cartoons and movies and American films.
How come no cool liberals can be rich? What the fuck is the deal?
I don't know.
How come they're all assholes like that?
Well,
I guess that's what it takes to climb up to the top.
You gotta be an asshole?
Money. Well, capitalism doesn't really breed a lot of empathy.
Yeah, the psychopaths go right to the top.
Yeah, it really. I don't know how you can succeed at capitalism without being kind of
pretty shitty.
Yeah. To the level of Ford, at least to the level of that kind of stuff. Like we all have to participate in it, but man, if you're that powerful, I think at that point
Disney,
you
Ford,
sold something,
Edison,
man.
Trump,
fucking Edison. Yeah.
Or even with the history of it's still on car stuff. Now I'm on motorcycles real quick. Harley Davidson.
Oh,
the biggest competitor at their time was Indian Motorcycles. Indian Motorcycle found out that Harley didn't patent their fucking engines. So they took their engines apart, and Indian Motorcycles now own the patent on every single Harley Davidson motorcycle out there.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
So Harley Davidson's like, well, we're fucked. Now we have to pay this company in order to build our motorcycles, and we're already fucked. But then Indian had a horrible wreck at a racetrack and killed a bunch of people, and they stopped racing motorcycles and kind of got out of the business.
Shouldn't they be called engine cycles?
I guess. I don't know.
Do you not? Oh, okay.
I'm like, I'm not going to throw you a lifeline here. I don't know.
My understanding is that motors run on electricity and engines run on combustion.
No, then locomotives are all steam.
We'll just move on.
I've driven cars before. I know that much. Yep, so I got.
I've ridden motorcycles and driven cars.
Yeah.
It's a thing people do. Wow, we got a little off track there.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah, so that's why everyone is racist, and Ancient Aliens is racist, and don't watch it, and don't buy these goddamn books and stuff.
Yeah, this has been so interesting. Like I said, that's one of the connections that I'd never made, that I had never even thought of, and it's because I don't need to, because I'm a white guy who just doesn't have to think about shit like this.
It's cool that you guys are. That's why it's cool you have me on them to yell about this stuff and be mad about it, and and I hope that we can. I like to see some sort of campaign to get history to pay attention to this stuff. I don't know what it'll take, because again, people have been trying, and it's just too much fucking money.
Once they started playing like all the Jesus God movies on it, I'm like, they sold the fuck out.
That doesn't help.
I think that was before Ancient Aliens even started playing on there when they started doing.
They've done a couple.
It was
the real Jesus
quite a few years ago when they showed that documentary made by that fucking church group that makes all the fucking Christian films. And then they redid it, and that was when they redid it. It was the one where they got in trouble because they cast a guy to play Satan that looked like Obama.
Oh, I remember that. Yep, he did. He really
looked a lot
like
they did.
It was
the dude was a straight up twin,
that,
and they got into a little bit of hot water for casting someone that looked like Obama to play the fucking devil. And I heard that when they re-aired it, that guy wasn't in it anymore.
Yeah. But and you'll notice in the ancient alien stuff, like the same civilizations get talked about all the time, right? Nobody's ever questioning why. Nobody ever blames the Roman civilization on ancient aliens. Why? They built fucking extraordinary, huge stuff, but nobody's like, oh, maybe aliens did that too.
Because that is a great fucking point.
Greeks and Romans never get brought in.
Yeah, I meant to write that down when I watched your video. That why isn't that we don't point at the white people and say, well, clearly they couldn't have just built that without some type of.
It's only brown people that need help. It's only it's. Polynesian cultures get, like a Easter Island culture gets brought in a lot.
Yeah.
It's cultures that frequently don't have their own writing, so they can't speak for themselves. They don't have their own representatives that are either alive or listened to either way. Like, nobody's listening to Indigenous Americans, even though we've got plenty to listen to still. But Easter Island culture doesn't exist anymore to talk to us. Ancient Egyptians don't exist to talk to us. Ancient Egypt's weird because we actually do have writing.
A lot of it.
People don't access to it. And Egypt got real exotified in the 20s, like right around that spiritualism time, because they were finding all the new stuff. King Tut's tomb got opened, got everybody all excited about the mystical land of Egypt, right? And I don't think America's ever really recovered from that Egyptian exoticism. We still kind of do that with that culture, even though we have writing and we have all this information about them. But a lot of these cultures just don't have anything to challenge us.
That's true. The Celts all across Central Europe were considered the best metallurgists of all time. And, this goes back to 700 BC, some of this stuff. And that's never brought up. I mean, if you look up like some of the Celtic torques and stuff that they wore and some of the way that they adorned those with gold and whatever else they were using, it's crazy the amount of detail that's in that. You could easily do a half a season of Ancient Aliens on just the the Celtic torques.
Yeah, but they don't.
Yeah, they don't. That never even comes up.
Stonehenge, right? Like, because Stonehenge just has this little that one will get kind of pulled in. There's a Roman cup that's like, it's like a goblet. It's almost like nanotechnology where it looks in different lights. It's like red and green, and it's glassware. It's crazy that they were able to accomplish this. But again, nobody's talking about that. Nobody's blamed like Roman ruins surviving how they did. Like, we just within the last couple of years have figured out kind of a missing ingredient, because archaeologists have been trying to answer that question. Like, what the hell is with Roman concrete that their ruins have survived so well? And it was like it's like a volcanic limestone that's in that area that was just kind of, we figured out, if adding this in helps solidify that. But why have we never blamed aliens? the Pantheon and the Colosseum on aliens,
Right. Well, because it was white people.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's always other people.
They could just figure that shit out.
Yeah, we're just naturally bred for that. Obviously, we're really smart, and we just figure shit out. Yeah. So this stuff it's not harmless, and it's new shows are still popping up. Like that Megan Fox one is popping up, where it's the same uncovering the mysteries of, and it's that same esoteric, like weird mysticism look at history. And man, we just need some really good shows to counter this stuff. I think that will help, because I don't know if we can get this stuff taken off the air, but if we had more actual exciting history shows to counter this stuff, maybe that would help.
Well, I got really big into Egypt like 10 years ago, and I was like watching all the stuff I could on it and trying to, like, that's when I got big into Dr. Zawahi and stuff. I'm like, fuck yeah, this guy's awesome.
Dr. Zhivago?
No, Zawahi.
From Hawaii?
Yeah.
What?
But, like, I had always assumed when I was younger, the way it was taught, like, the big pyramids, that's where the Egyptians are all. They're all in pyramids. But then when they got, like, the Valley of the Kings, where there's that river system, like, no, these motherfuckers aren't all in pyramids. Like, 90% of the ones that are found are in fucking cliff sides and shit and under the ground. They're not.
There's been so many stages of Egyptian civilization. Like, it's a wondrous history.
How many dynasties they went through. Yeah, like when they're like, this is 4th dynasty. It's in a fucking cave on the side of a cliff. There's no pyramid. Yeah, they're making the ornate sarcophaguses or the wooden coffins, which I learned that If it's made of wood, it's a coffin. If it's made of limestone, it's a sarcophagus.
Nice.
And I think the multiple is sarcophagi.
Mm-hmm.
Sarcophages.
Sarcophaguses.
Yes.
Well, it has been an absolute pleasure having you in the studio with
Thanks
us
for
again
having
for
me.
this.
I'm glad to be back. I'm glad I got to be here last time.
Fantastic. And we're going to talk about the LDS Church.
Okay, if we have to, some more.
Changing their policy, flip-flopping on that so soon, and obviously being weird about it and freaking people out on both sides.
Yeah.
You know, LDS and non-LDS people, gay, straight people, everybody's freaking out about it. Can you stick around and talk
I'm
with us
here.
for a bit?
Yep.
Okay. We'll make that our Patreon portion of the show.
Ooh.
So if you're not already a Patreon patron, you can do that by going to patreon.com/GodlessRebelution, and you can hear us talk about the LDS Church reversing its policy on whether they were going to baptize children of churchgoers or members of the LDS Church who are gay, straight, or lesbian, who are members of the LGBTQ.
Listen to the Patreon. You'll find out what we're
it'll be
talking
awesome.
about.
We're gonna rant and rave about how ridiculous it is that they came up with the policy in the first place, and how much it may or may not damage the reputation of the leaders as being men who actually speak to God and can discern
Get dessert from the fruit
pardon
bar.
me. I've had not even one beer. Well, I had a beer and a half. Maybe I'm tired. I don't know. Maybe I just can't talk very good. But before we go for the
Sarcophaguses.
regular portion of the show, I want to make sure that we thank our Patreon supporters. That would be Alan Firth,
Numania,
Christy Kalbach,
Gaytheist,
Larry Wilson,
Stephen Andrus,
Let Them Eat Kofefe,
Two Skeptical Chaps,
Michelle Shore,
Vanessa,
Freethinker 215, which didn't he
well,
change his name?
I
He got a
haven't
sucker-
updated the name.
But he wants us to give him a blowjob now,
It
doesn't
sure
he?
sounds like it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll fix that for next week. Sorry.
Okay.
Captain Samples,
Utah Outcast,
Janet Uter,
Scott Butcherkowski,
Wes Aaron,
Andrew Vodopich,
Angelica Pullerson,
Jeremy Goodson,
Brandy Hamrick,
Megan Kennedy,
That's me.
The Foz,
Jeff Peterson,
Jesse Pointer,
Savita Kuna,
the Purple Dragon,
and Taylor Green.
Thank you all very, very much. I chatted with Taylor a little bit last night.
How's he doing? I haven't talked to him in a while.
He's doing well.
He caught a hawk.
I don't think he caught a hawk. Well,
He had a picture of him with a hawk.
yeah, but I don't think he was out like hunting for a hawk.
You know
and
what?
he caught a hawk.
Let me have my dreams. He's a hawk hunter now.
It was a really cool picture.
Yeah.
And so until next week, crucify those ancient aliens.
Leave a review to uncover your tomb.
And rate the show 5 times a day toward the erect hairs of Giorgio Tsoukalos.
So until next week, crucify.
This happens every week.
It does.
It happened to me last week.
It was the air got so still.
Crucify the Dan didn't think of anything again this week.
And so until next week, crucify those ancient aliens.
Leave a review to achieve your tomb. I don't know. Leave a review
You
to
weren't
uncover
thinking
your
of one
tomb.
Mm.
I thought one, but then I started saying the wrong thing.
And then I yelled over it.
Yeah. I just said to leave a review to uncover your tomb.
Ah.
And rate the show 5 times a day toward the erect hairs of Giorgio Tsoukalos.